winds, some dangerous waves, and the rip currents as we track that potential low developing in the Atlantic. With that, meteorologist Mike Seidel in Fort Lauderdale this morning. And Mike, of course, monitoring what's happening out there, what will develop in the next 24 hours perhaps. But for you right now, that east wind really kicking up the surf. It's been warm and dry in Florida, Mike, here. I've got some stats to share. You know, we have been looking at one of the warmest, if not the warmest, April on record for a number of cities in Central and South Florida. Daytona Beach, Melbourne, Vero Beach, all the hottest on record. Second hottest April on record for Orlando. And there's other cities in the mix as well. And it's been running dry as well. So we do have somewhat of a drought situation going on for some folks here in South Florida. Abnormally dry in the yellow, and that includes Fort Lauderdale where Mike is. But we have that moderate drought south of there. So, Mike, the rainfall that we're going to get in the coming days, whether it's just general thunderstorms or associated with that area of low pressure, it's actually kind of good news, right? You're right, Mike, here. I found about 78, 79 is my threshold, so I would definitely go in. Mike Seidel, thank you. We're going to keep checking back with him as well. You really see that surf kicking up there today. And to change gears a bit and talk about the other concern we have for folks out there, there's a severe weather risk today, again, across the plains. Yesterday, tremendous rain with thunderstorms. We saw fire in New Mexico and Texas. Same areas again today. Amarillo, you're going to be picking up some showers and possible storms throughout the day. And, you know, yesterday there were spots in West Texas that saw over 5 or 6 inches of rainfall. Today, the same areas are under the gun for thunderstorms, and we also have the risk for severe weather. Now, heavy rain, I think, is going to be one of the biggest threats, but hail, large damaging hail, and also gusty winds a concern. There is also a tornado risk again today, and like yesterday, it's about 3 on the Torcon. So in the Texas Panhandle and down up into Oklahoma, it's a 30% risk of tornadoes forming within a 50-mile radius of those points. Here's how it's going to play out today. We've already been watching some strong storms move through the Lubbock area this morning. There'll be more through today. More moisture pumping into this area that already has plenty of moisture in place. So heavy rainfall with any of the storms, too much at once is going to be a concern. Oklahoma, that same threat again, not just today, but tomorrow and right into the weekend. Dallas, Texas. So we escaped a lot of the active weather yesterday, but we will not today. We bring the storms into our area by this afternoon, and we keep the storm threat today, tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. Looks like a very busy day. Sunday, too, actually, we could tack it on here to the list. So here's how it's going to pan out for tomorrow. We keep on watching a lot of the same areas under the gun for severe weather, from Texas into Oklahoma, right up into Nebraska and Kansas, and we're going to be watching for mainly the threat for damaging winds and hail, but the tornado risk, certainly by the weekend, is going to be going up. But even for you today and to tomorrow, we've got 3s out there. Tomorrow it's a 3 in Nebraska. Down into Kansas, it's a 4. And we also are looking at Texas with a 3 on the Torcon. So that tornado potential is there. This is May, and this is the month here where we do see typically a lot of tornado reports. It's our busiest month of the year. So we certainly watch for thunderstorm activity to become more active. And as we look at the situation setting up here, a lot of the typical ingredients are in place. By the time we get into later this week, we've got our dry line as one of the triggers for thunderstorms, lifting up that warm, moist air. We are going to be watching for some upper level energy as well. So things coming together by Wednesday, Thursday. Look at the risk area. A lot of the same spots. Oklahoma City, Wichita, you're in it again. San Angelo, Texas, for about the 4th day in a row, you will be in the risk for severe weather again. And we look at the Thursday Torcon, the numbers are about the same. We've got 3s out there again in parts of western Oklahoma and central Texas, some of the same areas that we're watching. Around Kansas City, for us, today's our one-day break, but then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday into the weekend, we are watching for thunderstorms. Chris, a preseason kind of deal. This is the area that we are watching. There is nothing that is developed or resembles a low pressure right now. However, the models have been hinting at this since last week, and it looks like there will be some kind of cyclone, whether it's just a regular non-tropical cyclone or a subtropical or tropical. That's what we need to figure out in the coming days. Hurricane Center just put out their latest update. They are looking at a now 40% chance of something forming within this area. And because there is that chance of tropical versus non-tropical versus subtropical, we thought we'd break down what these all are, what the difference is. Non-tropical is the kind that we see all year round, right? And especially in the winter, you notice these non-tropical areas of low pressure, the true low pressure system that we talk about, fueled by the clash of warm and cold air. Now, when you start getting into subtropical and tropical, now all of a sudden, the warm water starts to really become important as one of the fuels for creating and getting that low pressure system to continue to develop and strengthen. So subtropical is a little bit of both, fueled by warm, cold air and heat from the warm ocean. But then when you talk about a tropical low, it's all about the heat and the moisture from the warm ocean water temperatures, which right now, by the way, off the southeastern coast, those water temperatures are running above average. Is this rare? It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. This is a look at decade by decade how many systems, either tropical or some kind of hybrid, have formed before June the 1st. And certainly it has happened here every single decade. The last time, though, for us, it has been back into 2012. So it's been about. Thanks for staying with us here on Weather Center Live. I'm Jen Carfagno.
And I'm Chris Warren. Two big stories that we're following right now. The possibility of something in the tropics. The possibility of a cyclone developing in the coming days.
Possibly getting a name.
Possibly, yeah. It could be a first name storm of the season, which would be an early start. Also,
an area that we need the rainfall, though. It's just going to be too much at once, right? We still have a lot of drought to talk about in parts of the plains, but then we look at where we're going to see storms, and it will bring some much-needed rain, but it may bring too much, as Chris talked about, and it may bring severe weather. For tomorrow, we continue the threat, and the red zone goes from Nebraska through Kansas all the way down into Texas. Hail, damaging winds, heavy rain, all going to be threats. Lightning, a threat as well. But there is that tornado risk, and it's a 3 in central Nebraska. We go down into Oklahoma. It's a 4 from central Kansas, really, into central Oklahoma. And in Texas, it's a 3 on the Torcon in central Texas. That's tomorrow's risk area. And a lot of the same things that we're looking at today are going to be there tomorrow, but we'll add even a little more energy to the whole system that we're watching. So these are all the ingredients we have in place. We've got our subtropical jet, which is bringing in a lot of moisture and a little bit of upper level energy. Plenty of moisture with those surface winds coming out of the south and bringing in that Gulf moisture. Area of low pressure coming in over the four corners. That into to really tomorrow and Thursday starts to develop here right across the high plains. We have that dry line of play, which will act as one of the triggers to get air rising and get thunderstorms going. And we're going to be watching for today into tomorrow the risk for severe weather. Texas, Oklahoma. We see how it expands into tomorrow. And as we get you into your Thursday as well, we're going to see more active weather across a lot of the very same areas. So in terms of where we could see thunderstorms, by Thursday we bring back in Minneapolis and Minnesota all the way back down into Texas and Louisiana. So that's the area to watch for today in severe weather. But Chris, it's not the only game in town, actually. So we are tracking what could be soon the 40th tropical or subtropical system to form before June the 1st.
And regardless of whether or not a cyclone forms or not, there will be impacts, including an increased threat for rip currents. And meteorologist Mike Seidel is live in Fort Lauderdale with a look at what looks like a rather rough ocean behind you. Mike, good morning. A lot of weather to be watching out for in the middle of the country. Jen, when you look at this, Oklahoma City, every single day there's a chance for a thunderstorm.
Oh, if you need an idea for Mother's Day, maybe rain boots, a new umbrella. At this point, we'll be talking canoes. I mean, right? We got a lot of rain.
Activities.
A lot of rain in the forecast.
Yeah, and with temperatures in the upper 70s, chance for some storms will be with you. And this is generally the area in the coming days where we're going to see day after day of storms. So we're already looking ahead here to the weekend. This is Saturday. Chance for some strong storms at times, but the threat for storms does go all the way to the northeast.
We are going to see some, rain if anything will affect your plans out there in the northeast, but there could be some thunderstorms. The real risk for severe weather is going to be here across the high plains. We'll see a 4 on the Torcon from western parts of Kansas right back down into the Texas Panhandle.
So again, this is a tornado threat that we're going to be following in addition to the other threats that come with some of these strong storms Saturday. And then again on Mother's Day on Sunday, chance for storms now. Some of the strong ones possibly as far east as Indianapolis.
All right, so things actually look even more developed by the time we get to this point. And we do think there's going to be a lot of activity. A 4 on the Torcon, southeast Nebraska, northern Missouri, all the way into parts of Iowa too.
All right, so we are looking at the threat for some more storms. We're also keeping an eye on the beaches, especially along the East Coast. And before the break, we asked you what you would do if you were caught in a rip current and getting pulled out to sea.
Time now to check your answer to So You Think You'd Survive. Or turn around on your back, too. You know, my kids are in swim lessons, right? And that's what they teach them. Like, if you feel like you can't swim any farther, just float in your back. That's the easy way to get a break.
And when you relax, especially when in salty water, you're pretty buoyant.
It's true.
You know, it doesn't take a lot of effort to stay afloat. And so just kind of know your boundaries. And this is what a rip current is.
You know, they say don't panic. I know it's hard not to panic, right? But if you understand what's happening, I think it makes it easier. And so what happens basically is you get the water near the shore that rises.